Hello, Leo. Welcome to your reading for the week of January 6th. All right. So, the first image that my guides gave me was of a hammer and an awl. An awl is a round-handled tool with a very long, pointy spike that can be used for making holes or carving or things of that nature. Typically, you don't bang on it with a hammer, but you can do that in order to make holes. If it's a tough substance like a leather, you'd use a small hammer. But I didn't really know what to do with that. So I said, "Can you give me something else?" And they showed me a railroad track. But the railroad track was through a forest, and as I looked at it carefully, you were standing there, and it's like you were holding the railroad ties in your hand. So the ties are the wooden pieces that run across the track, of course, that hold the metal straps or trails. What do you call them? Rails in place. It's an old-fashioned kind of wood, or it's an old-fashioned railway through a forest, and you're standing there, and what I'm realizing is you don't know where this track is going, and you don't know how to build it, but you feel like you should be building it, but you don't know how to build it. And it goes back to the awl. When I checked in with that, I didn't know when I was looking for it. It was going, we'll use it on paper, we'll use it on wood, we'll use it on this, we'll use it on that. But it was like you didn't know what to do with the awl and the hammer either. And I thought, well, is that a sign they've got the tools, but they don't know what to do with it? It's not that. The track really clarified it for me. Leo, you're not really great at not knowing where things are going. It's challenging for you because you're used to being in control. You know, fire is solar plexus chakra. It's about being able to reach out, create cooperation. But when the fire is not in balance, so when you're really challenged with something like disorganization or chaos that you're supposed to be dealing with, usually because of other people or other situations, it's really difficult for you to step back and trust that things are going to be clear, that the way is going to be made, the track is going to be laid. There's a part of you that still feels like you should be doing it, right? So what you're being told here is, that can create a lot of pain for you, a lot of pain, especially because it's very often involving people that are important to you, or because the lack of control has come from a situation that has just been there's been a lot of emotion in it that has felt either close to your heart, or that it's felt like an attack, or there's just something that has felt like an affront to some part of you, okay? But you're being asked, when you're in pain around a situation, you're being asked, okay, look at your patterns. Is this a repeat pattern of your personality? Are you in this position again because of patterns in your own behavior in terms of the kinds of relationships you have, the responsibility that you take on, your need to be in control? Where's some of that coming from? But for some of you, whether patterns are involved or not, you are in a situation where you are basically not able to use your usual form of power that you would, your determination, your force, your intellect, to solve a situation. You're being asked to trust that there is a way that's going to be made. You're really being asked to lean into the divine. You're also being told here that one of the ways for you to be able to get through this not knowing, this standing in the middle of the forest with his railroad tie, not knowing even where the rails are supposed to be going, what direction they're going in, you're being told here that if you can create for yourself some kind of structure, not necessarily around the situation, but something else where you can control it, where you can know what's coming, do things according to a plan, that is going to actually calm your nervous system and allow you to channel some of that fiery energy that can't be directed towards the thing you're out of control on, that is now therefore revving in your system. So it might be something like setting yourself a plan for the day that involves very specific things that you do that you stick to. It might be something like that. It might be saying, I'm going to work on something like a craft or a hobby, or not. It could be actual work that you're dedicating yourself to, learning a language, something that is going to take some of that fiery energy and use it for something constructive. But very specifically, something structured, not just randomly, oh, I think I'll go online and learn a few words of Spanish. Try to set yourself a structure so that you can kind of pour that energy into that structure, and you've got somebody or something keeping you online, in line, so that that energy is channeled and doesn't get out of control. You are very much being asked to trust that things are going to work out, that even though there's a lot of uncertainty, that leaning into grace and doing your best to channel that fiery energy elsewhere. And remember, fiery energy isn't necessarily anger, right? It's controlling. So channeling that fiery energy, fight or flight as well. You know, the fight or flight, fire regulates and rules the fight, flight, freeze, or fawn response in the nervous system. So whenever we find ourselves out of control, that is the kind of thing that starts going on in the nervous system. There really is this absolutely primal response that happens around that. It's about security and safety. So you're being asked when that happens, create a structure for yourself. Really, when you're finding yourself going into certainty, just take a chance that leaning into the divine and trusting that that is going to move you and move the situation where it needs to be. And remind yourself that you are more powerful than your mind, that you have a power that is deep inside of you, that is your wise self. And when you find yourself getting wound up over the situation, say to myself, this is it. Today, no matter what emotion I'm feeling, physical sensation I'm having, or event I'm experiencing through my personality, remember, I'm going to state silently or as loud as you need to, there is another part of me that is untouched and unaffected by this. There is a me watching me. It is my wise, higher conscious self that knows there is a higher force directing this, and that my wise self will direct me accordingly when the time is right. When you go into your emotions, stop and name them. Okay, look, there's fear. I'm going to take a deep breath, and as I take a deep breath, what happens? By saying, oh, look, there's fear. Oh, look, there's anxiety. Oh, look, there's sadness. You're actually creating a space between yourself and the energy of that emotion, which helps you get back into there is another me watching me. It puts you into observer mode, and it immediately starts raising your frequency and shifting your nervous system into more of the relaxation response, or at least into neutral. So that is a really powerful exercise for you to do as you're working through this period of not knowing. Okay? You can actually notice as you do that, your system's going to start changing. Oh, look, there's fear. And now just breathe. And as you notice, as you breathe, after having named it, notice how it starts to change. Okay? Fear is just one example, of course. Do only one thing at a time. Because, okay, so that's an exaggeration perhaps, because you can't always do that. But for me, that is an indicator of saying, don't spread yourself too thin. Try to rein in your energy a little bit. Again, it's that structure. Create a structure for yourself that you can allow this energy to flow into. Leos, that is your reading. The good news is you are being told that there is grace, that you can take a chance on trusting the fact that even though there is uncertainty, the more you lean into trusting, the more you lean into acknowledging that there is a wise part of you, the more that you focus your energy, the more you're going to be able to move through this more easily. And you are going to be actually developing that part of yourself that's not going to go away once this situation is over. This is part of you developing that inner wisdom and your connection to that part of yourself that perhaps you have lost track of or maybe not really fully experienced because you've been very oriented towards your mind. Again, the Leo thing, the control thing. This is really, really kind of challenging you to go inward because it's kind of the only place where you can get the support that you need is inside, in that part of yourself that is connected to the divine. All right? So, yes, challenging. And there is great, great rewards for this, for you in this. Okay? Hang in there, kiddos. I'll be back next week.